The banishment. Commander Director Voss stood at the viewport of Earth's orbital command station, her reflection ghosting against the stars. The message had arrived 3 hours ago, buried in diplomatic code and routed through 7 relay points. If not for her custom decryption algorithms, they might never have caught it. She'd been expecting this for years, but the reality still hit like a physical blow. "They did it," she said, voice tight, as Lieutenant Soren Zhang approached. The Galactic Federation Council held their vote. Zhang's face paled. And 93% in favor. Humanity is officially expelled from the Federation, effective immediately. Zhang swore under his breath. They didn't even have the decency to tell us to our face. Decency was never their strong suit, Ilara replied, bringing up a holographic display. But neither was foresight. The Federation had spent decades quietly tolerating humanity's presence, benefiting from human innovation, while containing their influence. Humanity had fought in their wars, solved their crises, and pulled endangered species back from extinction, yet somehow remained the outcast child of galactic civilization. Earth's sin was simple. They asked questions. When the Ardelian ships were destroyed in the Proxima conflict, humans demanded an investigation while the Council called it an accident. When the Tyrdal species was enslaved under the euphemism of obligatory service contracts, humans leaked the footage to every world. When Council representatives claimed resource allocations were fair, humans published the real numbers. In short, humans didn't play the game. So the Council decided to remove them from the board. "Begin Protocol Orpheus," Ilara said, pressing her palm against the biometric scanner. The station's lights dimmed momentarily as emergency systems activated. Across Earth and its colonies, similar commands were being issued. Humanity had suspected this day would come. They'd been preparing for it. Within hours, every human diplomatic outpost across Federation space went silent. Trade vessels altered course, heading back to Sol. Military attaches vanished from joint command posts. The withdrawal was so swift and coordinated that some Federation worlds didn't notice until days later. Admiral Cato addressed the United Earth government from his underground command center in the Himalayas. His weathered face filled screens worldwide, voice grave but determined. "Today, the Galactic Federation has chosen to cast humanity aside. They've revoked our membership, nullified our treaties, and ordered our immediate withdrawal from all Federation territory. They believe this punishment will humble us, force us to beg for readmission under stricter terms." He paused, a hard smile touching his lips. "They've misunderstood us from the beginning. Orpheus Protocol is now active. Phase 1 is complete. All human personnel and assets are returning to Sol space. Phase 2 begins now." Phase 2 wasn't a retreat. It was erasure. In the engineering labs beneath Lake Baikal, Dr. Maya Okafor watched her life's work come online. The neural disruption field generators had been theoretical until 3 years ago, technology the Federation had explicitly forbidden. The NDF didn't destroy, it obscured. It created a perpetual blind spot in sensors, navigation systems, and even organic perception. "Calibration complete," she announced to the room of technicians. "Deploying solar ring." Across Sol system, hundreds of microsatellites activated, linking into a sphere that encompassed Earth's star system. Within minutes, the effect began. Sol system became increasingly difficult to locate in Federation navigation systems. Not invisible, not yet, but blurred, like an image going out of focus. On Mars colony, Colonel Victor Kagam activated the quantum entanglement disruptors. These devices targeted the specialized wormhole stabilizers that made galactic communication possible, scrambling their signals only for transmissions seeking Earth. Messages could leave Sol, but finding it would become nearly impossible. The Federation's first response was confusion, then outrage. Emergency sessions were called as they realized what was happening. The humans weren't just leaving. They were cutting themselves off, making themselves untraceable. Ilara received the intelligence reports with grim satisfaction. "They're panicking," she told Admiral Cato. "The Solvian delegates are demanding immediate military intervention before we're completely lost." "And the motion?" Cato asked. "Failed. The council is split now. Half of them are relieved we're disappearing, thinking good riddance. The other half realize what they've done. They've forced an advanced species with technology they don't fully understand to go rogue." "And what about Phase 3? Cato's eyes were hard. Ilara's jaw tightened. "Ready when you give the word, sir." Phase 3 was the point of no return. Not just vanishing, but making sure no one could follow. In a research facility on Europa, Dr. Emikun Mosu finalized the software for the Pathfinder virus. Unlike conventional malware, Pathfinder was designed to infiltrate the Federation's navigational databases and corrupt any information related to Earth, coordinates, historical flight paths, astronomical markers. "It won't just remove us from their maps," he explained to the Oversight Committee. "It will make the very idea of finding Earth mathematically implausible." Commander Voss personally oversaw the deployment. From stealth vessels positioned near major Federation hub worlds, the virus was released into the galactic network. It moved slowly, deliberately, targeting specific data while leaving everything else intact. By the time Federation cybersecurity detected the intrusion, it was too late. Across their vast network, references to Earth's location became corrupted. Star charts showed nonsensical coordinates. Navigation computers returned errors when plotting courses to Sol. The final stage came 1 week after the banishment vote. At precisely 300 Universal Earth time, specially modified probes were detonated at strategic points along the Galactic Wormhole network, the FTL travel highways that connected Federation worlds. They didn't destroy the wormholes. They reconfigured them. Any ship attempting to follow old routes to Earth would emerge light years from their intended destination. The paths home were not just hidden. They were rewritten. Aboard the orbital command station, Ilara watched Earth beneath her, blue and serene against the void. Phase 3 complete. "Admiral, we are officially off the map." Admiral Cato's response was quiet, almost contemplative. "What do you think they expected, Commander? That we plead? Negotiate? They expected us to be afraid," Ilara replied. "They never understood that what makes us dangerous isn't our technology or our military. It's that humans have always known how to disappear when necessary, how to rebuild in the dark." On the Federation homeworld of Axelar Prime, the Grand Council gathered in emergency session as reports flooded in. Systems failing, maps corrupted, wormhole paths distorted. High Counselor Therion, who had cast the deciding vote for humanity's expulsion, stared at the data in disbelief. How could they do this in mere days? "We thought the expulsion would cripple them." And Aide approached, handing him a data crystal. "This just arrived, Counselor. It's from Earth." The message played before the assembled representatives, showing Commander Ilara Voss standing on what appeared to be the orbital command station. Her expression was neither angry nor pleading. She looked almost serene. "To the Galactic Federation Council, you have made your decision, and we have made ours. You sought to erase Earth from the galaxy. We have saved you the trouble by erasing ourselves from your maps. Do not attempt to find us. The paths are closed, the coordinates lost. Should we ever choose to return, it will be on our terms, not yours." The message ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. High Counselor Therion slowly rose from his seat. "What have we done?" he whispered. But no one could answer. Earth was gone, vanished from the galaxy like a ghost. And in their fear of humanity's potential, the Federation had created exactly what they feared most: a human civilization with nothing left to lose, no rules to follow, and every reason to reinvent themselves beyond the Federation's reach or understanding. The banishment was complete, but what would emerge from humanity's self-imposed exile, not even Earth's leaders could predict. The reckoning. 5 years passed. For the Galactic Federation, they were years of growing unease. Earth had vanished completely. Federation scout ships dispatched to find Sol system either returned with navigation failures or didn't return at all. The few that made it back reported impossible phenomena. Stars that moved, space that folded back on itself, readings that contradicted every law of astral cartography. The Federation had successfully removed humanity from their council chambers, their trade networks, their diplomatic channels. But in doing so, they had created something far more dangerous, a ghost. On Axelar Prime, the Federation capital, High Counselor Therion had aged a decade and 5 years. The consequences of the banishment vote weighed heavily on him as reports piled up on his desk. Strange technological failures on border worlds, communication disruptions, unexplained energy signatures. Another one, his aide said, placing a data tablet before him. Outpost in the Cygnus sector went dark last night. That's the 3rd this month. Therion scanned the report. Like the others, there was no sign of attack, no destruction. Systems simply shut down. Crews reported seeing strange objects in orbit before contact was lost. Objects that matched no known design in Federation records. Is it them? He asked quietly. His aide hesitated. The energy signatures match what we recorded during the departure. Therion didn't need elaboration. The departure. The day humanity vanished from galactic maps, taking with them technologies the Federation had never fully understood. Elsewhere in the galaxy, on the mining world of Veshta, Administrator Lenk stared in confusion at the production facility below his office window. Every drill, processor, and transport had stopped simultaneously. Diagnostic systems reported no malfunctions, yet nothing would activate. Try bypassing the central computer, he ordered, but the technicians shook their heads. Sir, it's not a system error. The machinery just doesn't recognize our commands anymore. As panic spread, a holographic message appeared above the facility floor, a stylized Earth, rotating slowly, followed by a simple message. Resources acquired through Kelbin slave labor are no longer available to the Federation. Lenk went pale. The Kelbin workers, a species the Federation classified as indentured resources, looked up at the message with dawning hope in their 4 eyes. Similar incidents occurred across a dozen worlds. Facilities using forced labor from supposedly lesser species found their technology non-responsive. Federation military outposts that had orchestrated species cleansing campaigns discovered their weapon systems locked. Mining operations that had stripped protected worlds suddenly found their extraction equipment inoperable. On the Federation capital, an emergency council was convened. Representatives from 30 affected worlds demanded answers. It's them, declared the Taurian delegate, pounding his fist on the table. The humans have returned. Impossible, countered another. We've been monitoring all approach vectors. No ships have entered Federation space. Then how do you explain this? The Taurian projected images of the disabled facilities, the mysterious messages. They've been planning this since their banishment, and now they're executing their revenge. High Counselor Therion remained silent, watching the arguments escalate. What none of them knew was that an unmarked data crystal had arrived on his desk that morning, containing only a set of coordinates and a time. 3 days later, Therion's personal shuttle arrived at the coordinates, an abandoned refueling station in neutral space. He'd come alone, against all security protocols, because the message had been clear. No escorts, no weapons, no communications. The station appeared deserted, emergency lighting casting long shadows across empty corridors. Therion made his way to the central chamber, heart racing despite his diplomatic training. She was waiting for him there. A human woman, tall and composed, with silver streaking her dark hair. He recognized her immediately from the final transmission Earth had sent. Commander Voss, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. It's Director Voss now, Ilara replied, gesturing to a chair across from her. Thank you for coming, Counselor. You've been attacking Federation worlds, he said, remaining standing. Not attacking. Correcting. Her smile was cold. "We've done nothing more than ensure your technology refuses to cooperate with atrocities, a simple ethics protocol embedded in your systems during our departure." "How is this possible? We erased all human influence from our networks after you vanished. Did you really think we only planted what you found?" Ilara shook her head. "For decades, we built your infrastructure, maintained your communication networks, developed your navigation systems. We left backdoors you'll never find." She activated a holographic display showing Federation space, with dozens of points illuminated. "This is just the beginning, Counselor. Project Uprising is now active in 17 sectors. What do you want?" Therian asked, finally taking a seat. "To offer you a choice. Your Federation is built on exploitation. Species deemed useful are elevated. Those deemed subservient are enslaved. Those deemed dangerous are contained." She leaned forward. "We were categorized as dangerous because we refused to accept this hierarchy." The hologram shifted, showing new star systems appearing at the edges of known space. "While you've been searching for us, we've been expanding, building. The human sphere now encompasses 37 systems outside Federation detection. We've allied with other species who fled your protection. We've developed technologies you deemed too dangerous to pursue." "Are you declaring war?" Therian whispered. "No. We're declaring independence, not just for ourselves, but for any species that wants it. The Federation's exploitative policies end now." She handed him another data crystal. "These are our terms. Equal status for all sentient species. End of forced labor programs. Reparations for devastated worlds. Technology sharing without restriction." "The Council will never agree to this," Therian said. "They already are." Ilara activated another display, showing live feeds from a dozen Federation worlds where protests were erupting, led by species long considered subservient. "Your foundation is cracking, Counselor. We didn't just vanish from your maps. We've been reshaping them." On the frontier world of Keldar, something unprecedented was happening. The native Keldarians, supposedly a primitive species incapable of advanced technology, had activated ancient defense systems buried beneath their sacred mountains. Federation military vessels found themselves unable to approach the planet. Similar scenes unfolded across the galaxy. Species long thought controlled were rising up, wielding technologies that shouldn't exist, communicating through channels the Federation couldn't monitor. "How long have you been planning this?" Therian asked, awestruck by the scope of what he was witnessing. "Since the day you invited us into your Federation." Ilara's expression softened slightly. "We knew from the beginning what you really thought of us. Too aggressive, too curious, too unwilling to accept hierarchies we didn't choose." She stood, pacing the room. "We hoped to change the Federation from within. When that failed, when you cast us out, we decided to change it from without. And the Vanishing Act, the corrupted maps. We needed time, space to build without your interference." A genuine smile crossed her face for the first time. "Plus, we've always had a flair for the dramatic. Humans love a good disappearing act." In the weeks that followed, the Federation faced its greatest crisis. World after world declared independence or demanded new terms for continued membership. The carefully maintained hierarchies of species began collapsing. And at the edge of Federation space, human ships finally appeared openly, not as invaders, but as allies to the liberated worlds. They brought with them technologies developed during their exile. Clean energy systems, medical advances, weaponry that outclassed anything in the Federation arsenal. On Axelar Prime, the council chambers erupted into chaos as the vote was called. After 15 hours of debate, with the Federation literally crumbling around them, the motion was passed. The terms presented by Director Voss would be accepted. The Federation would be restructured. High Counselor Therian found himself standing with Ilara Voss on a balcony overlooking the capital city as the results were announced. "Was this your plan all along?" he asked her. "To disappear only to return stronger?" "Not entirely. she admitted. We prepared for many outcomes. War was one possibility. Complete separation was another. And this, revolution without firing a shot. Ilara watched the celebrations beginning in the streets below, where species that had once been rigidly separated now mingled freely. This was the best outcome, she said quietly. You wanted to erase Earth from the galaxy. Instead, we erased the map you built and helped others draw a better one. In the years that followed, humanity's influence grew not through conquest, but through alliance. Sol system remained protected by its maze of distorted space and sensor blinds, but human ships traveled freely through the reformed Federation, now called the Galactic Accord. Commander Ilara Voss, architect of humanity's disappearance and triumphant return, eventually wrote in her memoirs, "They expected us to beg for redmission or fade into obscurity. They never understood that humans thrive in exile. When you cast us into darkness, we don't cower, we reshape it until it glows." The galaxy had voted to banish Earth, believing they were removing a problem. Instead, they had created their own reckoning, and in doing so, ultimately saved themselves from the very corruption humanity had been warning them about all along. The bridges humanity burned behind them had been rebuilt, but on their terms, leading to a future no single species controlled.